The alien training camp was never quiet. Lights flashed across the metal walls, alarms rang during drills, and voices of recruits from many worlds filled the halls. But on one morning, a strange silence fell when the first human cadet entered the arena. Everyone stopped what they were doing. Every eye turned toward him. His name was Daniel. He looked different from the others. His skin was soft, no scales, no fur, no glowing markings. He had only 2 arms and 2 legs. Compared to the tall insect soldiers, the scaled lizard warriors, and the bird-like flyers, he looked fragile. Many aliens whispered among themselves. Some laughed. Others shook their heads. Standing at the center of the arena was Commander Threx. He was a Rylac, a species known for their speed and extra limbs. His body shone with dark armor-like scales, and 6 strong arms hung at his sides. He was the best instructor in the camp, feared by recruits and respected by leaders. He enjoyed showing off his speed. He enjoyed proving that no one could match his reflexes. When he saw Daniel, a crooked grin spread across his face. "So this is the human," he said loudly, making sure the crowd could hear. "Look at him. 2 arms, slow steps, weak body. He should be carrying food trays, not standing in my arena." The crowd laughed. Their voices echoed, sharp and mocking. Daniel did not answer. He kept his eyes steady, his hands loose at his side. To many, his silence looked like fear, but his eyes did not shake. He was calm. Commander Threx raised 2 of his arms and pointed at Daniel. "Today we test the human. Today we show the truth, that human reflexes are slow, and they do not belong here." The other recruits pressed close to the railings, their strange faces filled with excitement. Some expected the human to run. Others expected him to fall on the first strike. None expected a fight worth watching. Daniel stepped forward. His boots hit the metal floor with a slow echo. He stood in front of Threx, smaller, lighter, almost like a shadow compared to the massive-scale body before him. The silence grew heavy. Threx moved first. His arm flashed out like lightning, a strike aimed at Daniel's shoulder. He wanted it to be quick, an easy humiliation. But something happened that froze the crowd. Daniel tilted his body slightly, just enough, and the claw missed. Gasps broke out. "He dodged!" someone shouted. Threx narrowed his eyes. His second strike came faster, sharper. Daniel bent low, his movement simple but exact. The claw cut the air above his head. Again, he was untouched. The crowd shifted, their whispers rising. Impossible! The human should not be able to see that speed. He moved before the hit landed. Threx's pride burned. He attacked with 3 arms at once, his claws a blur. Daniel's hand shot up, not to block, but to guide. He pushed one arm aside, ducked under another, and spun away from a third. His movements were smooth, clean, almost like water sliding past stone. Every miss made the arena louder. Aliens shouted in shock. Some clapped. Some laughed at the commander. Others stayed in silence, their jaws wide. Daniel's face stayed calm. His eyes followed every twitch of Threx's body. He was not faster, but he was reading the alien. He knew where the strikes would land before they came. His reflexes were not just reaction, they were anticipation. Commander Threx roared. His body launched upward, all 6 arms wide, aiming to crush Daniel with a heavy leap. The crowd held their breath. Surely this would end it. Surely the human could not escape. At the last moment, Daniel stepped forward, not back. He bent low, his hand brushing one joint of Threx's arm. The alien's balance broke. Instead of landing a crushing blow, Threx stumbled and crashed hard against the metal floor. The arena exploded with sound. Shouts, cheers, laughter, and disbelief filled the air. Recruits pointed. Some clapped their claws, some beat their tails against the railing. No one had ever seen the commander fall like that. Daniel straightened slowly. His chest rose and fell with steady breaths. He looked at Threx, then at the crowd. His voice was calm, almost too soft for the noise around him, but everyone heard it. "Reflex is not only speed," he said. "Reflex is knowing." Threx rose with anger burning in his eyes. He had been humiliated in front of everyone. But under the anger, deep inside, was something else, something he did not want to admit. Respect. And that was how the story began, the day an alien commander could not touch a human. News traveled faster than light inside the alien academy. By the next day, every corridor, every dining hall, and every training room was filled with one story: the human who made Commander Threx miss. Recruits from different species repeated the tale with excitement, some adding their own colors, some laughing at Threx, and some whispering in disbelief. Daniel could feel the eyes on him wherever he went. Some looked at him with curiosity, others with respect, and a few with jealousy. He did not speak much. He trained quietly, ate quietly, and walked quietly, yet his silence only made him more mysterious. Commander Threx, however, was not silent. His pride had been torn in front of everyone, and he could not let it go. Every time recruits whispered, he heard them. Every time they laughed, he knew it was about him. His anger grew heavier each day, wrapping around him like a dark cloak. One morning, Threx entered the training hall before the others arrived. He struck the air with his 6 arms, faster and harder than before. His claws cut sparks across the floor. He was determined. "I will not be beaten by a soft-skinned creature," he growled to himself. "I will show them all." When the recruits gathered later, Threx stood tall and called Daniel forward again. The hall went quiet, every alien pausing to listen. "Yesterday was luck," Threx shouted. "The human escaped by chance. Today, we end the mistake." Gasps ran through the crowd. Another duel? So soon? The recruits pressed closer, their eyes wide. They wanted to see if yesterday was only luck, or if the human truly had something special. Daniel walked to the center of the hall. His steps were calm, his face steady. He looked neither afraid nor eager. To him, it was only another test, another moment to learn. Threx wasted no time. He rushed forward with all 6 arms swinging in a storm of claws. The air shook with the speed of his strikes. The crowd leaned forward, eyes straining to keep up. But Daniel moved with the same strange calm. He stepped to the side, letting one claw pass by his shoulder. He leaned back, letting another miss his chest. His hands rose and fell in small motions, touching just enough to guide Threx's arms away without force. The noise in the hole grew. Again! He dodged again. How can he see the strikes before they come? Threx's rage boiled. He attacked faster, each arm blurring until it seemed there were 12 instead of 6. His claws scraped the floor, sliced the air, and whistled past Daniel's head. But again, Daniel's body flowed like water, always just out of reach, always one step ahead. For the second time, Threx could not land a single hit. The crowd exploded into shouts. Some cheered Daniel's name, others laughed at the commander. The noise burned Threx's pride deeper. He roared, his voice echoing through the hall. "Enough!" But Daniel did not shout back. He stood straight, his eyes calm. His voice was soft but clear. "You are fast, but you do not watch. You only strike. That is why you miss." The hall fell silent. No one had ever spoken to Commander Threx like that. The recruits stayed, waiting for an explosion of fury. But instead, Threx froze. His chest rose and fell heavily, his eyes burning. In that silence, many recruits realized something important. The human was not just surviving, he was teaching. His words carried weight, not like an insult, but like a truth. And even if Threx would not admit it, the truth cut deeper than claws. From that day forward, Daniel's place in the academy changed. Some recruits began to follow him during drills, copying his movements, asking questions. How do you move so simply? How do you know before the strike? Daniel answered softly, never showing pride. I watch. I wait. I move when I must. Not everyone liked him. Some species felt threatened. Some whispered that humans were dangerous, unpredictable. A few even muttered that Daniel should be removed before he embarrassed more instructors. But the seed had been planted, the idea that humans had something different, something powerful. Commander Threx, meanwhile, trained harder than ever. He wanted revenge, but more than that, he wanted to understand. In his heart, though buried deep, a question began to grow. Could a human truly see more than others? Could it be that strength was not only in speed, but in patience? The story of Daniel, the human with untouchable reflexes, was only beginning. The alien academy was alive with noise. Everywhere Daniel walked, he felt eyes following him. The story of how he had dodged Commander Threx again and again had spread far beyond the training halls. Recruits from other divisions, even instructors from other species, began coming to watch. Some came to learn. Some came to laugh. But all came with curiosity. For many, it was difficult to believe. A human, a creature with no claws, no wings, no extra arms, had stood in the center of the arena and moved like water, untouchable. Some whispered that humans had hidden technology in their bodies. Others claimed it was a trick, an illusion. But those who had seen it with their own eyes knew it was real. The leaders of the academy began to pay attention. High above the training floor, they watched from glass platforms, their faces unreadable. To them, one question mattered. Was the human truly skilled, or was Commander Threx slipping in age and focus? They wanted answers. And so, a test was prepared. One evening, as the recruits finished their drills, the alarm rang. A voice boomed through the chamber. All cadets to the central arena. A special trial begins now. The arena lights brightened. The floor opened wide, revealing a larger space than before. Floating drones surrounded the ring, recording every move. The recruits filled the stands, buzzing with excitement. Everyone knew what this meant. The human would face something new. Daniel entered the arena. His steps were steady, his face calm. Across from him stood not Commander Threx, but 3 alien fighters from different species. One was a tall insectoid with 4 bladed arms that glistened like knives. Another was a heavy brute covered in stone-like skin, each step shaking the floor. The third was lean and fast, with long, flexible limbs that snapped like whips. The crowd roared. 3 against 1. The human will fall this time. He cannot dodge them all. From the side, Commander Threx watched, his arms crossed. His face was unreadable, but his eyes burned with focus. He wanted to see if Daniel would survive, or if his earlier victories had been nothing but chance. The signal sounded. The 3 aliens attacked at once. The insectoid swung its sharp arms downward, aiming to slice Daniel in half. The brute charged forward, heavy fists raised to crush. The whip-limbed fighter spun from the side, limbs cracking through the air. It was chaos. 3 different speeds, 3 different styles, all aimed at one human. But Daniel moved. He shifted sideways, the insect blade missing by inches. He dropped low, letting the brute's heavy fist crash against the floor where he had stood. He leaned back just enough for the whip arm to slice the air in front of his face. In one breath, he had escaped them all. Gasps filled the arena. Again the 3 attacked. Again Daniel's body flowed like water, never rushing, never panicking. His hands brushed aside a blade just enough to pass. His feet slid across the floor, light and quick. His eyes followed everything, sharp and calm. The crowd began to rise from their seats. He is dodging all of them. How is this possible? He is not even sweating. Minutes passed, and still Daniel stood untouched. The 3 fighters grew frustrated. Their movements became wild, desperate. But Daniel's rhythm never broke. He did not fight with strength. He did not fight with speed. He fought with patience. Finally, the brute charged too hard, missing his strike. Daniel stepped aside, and the brute crashed into the insectoid. The whip-limbed fighter tried to strike Daniel's back, but he turned and bent low, letting the whip hit the brute instead. In moments, the 3 fighters tangled with one another, their frustration turning into mistakes. The arena exploded with cheers. Recruits clapped, stomped, shouted. Some laughed, some shook their heads in disbelief. Above, even the leaders leaned forward, their eyes fixed on the human. Daniel stood calmly, his chest rising with steady breath. He had not thrown a single punch, yet he had survived what should have been impossible. Commander Threx's jaw tightened. For the first time, he understood something he had refused to believe. The human was not lucky. The human was not weak. The human was different. And deep inside Threx, a thought began to grow, quiet but sharp. Maybe I have something to learn from him. The trial ended, but the story of Daniel grew larger than ever. He was no longer just a strange recruit. He was becoming a symbol, a human who could not be beaten, a human who moved like no other. And the Academy would never forget it. The Academy had never seen anything like it. Whispers about Daniel filled every corridor, louder with each passing day. He had faced Commander Threx. He had faced 3 different fighters at once, and still no one had touched him. To many, he was no longer just a human recruit. He was a mystery, a puzzle that the Academy wanted to solve. But not everyone celebrated him. Some recruits muttered that he was dangerous, that humans should not be trusted. Others envied the attention he received. And at the center of it all stood Commander Threx, his pride wounded but his mind restless. Each night he replayed the duels in his head, each miss, each dodge, each calm motion of the human. His anger had begun to cool, and in its place was a heavy, troubling question. What if I was wrong? One morning, an announcement shook the Academy. Final trial today. The voice boomed. Human Cadet Daniel will face Commander Threx in the Grand Arena. All divisions must attend. The word spread like fire. Recruits rushed to the stands, filling every seat. Leaders from distant sectors arrived, their eyes sharp and curious. Even the highest commanders of the fleet came to watch. This was no longer just a duel. It was a test of what humans were truly worth. Daniel entered the arena quietly, as always. His boots echoed on the metal floor. He looked calm, almost too calm for the storm of voices rising around him. Across the ring stood Threx, his scaled body tense, his 6 arms raised and ready. His face was not twisted in arrogance this time. His eyes burned with something different. Focus. The signal sounded. Threx moved first. His strikes came fast, sharper than before. Weeks of extra training had honed him. His arms were not wild now. They were controlled, disciplined. He attacked with purpose, not just speed. But Daniel moved with the same calm rhythm. He leaned, ducked, and stepped aside. His eyes read every shift of Threx's body, his reflexes answering with perfect timing. The first exchange ended with Daniel untouched. The crowd shouted, some cheering, some gasping. The air felt electric. Threx did not roar this time. He breathed deeply, then attacked again. Each blow was faster, yet each one carried thought. Daniel dodged, but his face grew serious. For the first time, he felt the change. Threx was learning. Minutes passed. The duel was no longer one-sided. Daniel still avoided every strike, but the gaps grew smaller. A claw brushed the fabric of his sleeve. Another strike stirred the air by his ear. The crowd leaned forward, hearts racing. Then it happened. Threx feinted with one arm, drawing Daniel to the side, and struck with another. Daniel twisted away, but too late. The claw grazed his shoulder. It was small, only a touch, but the arena erupted in noise. For the first time, Daniel had been touched. Threx froze, his chest heaving. The crowd roared, but he raised a hand for silence. His eyes locked on Daniel's. "You could have beaten me again," he said slowly. "But you held back. You gave me space to learn." Daniel did not deny it. He stood tall, his shoulder bleeding lightly, his voice calm. "Reflex is not about pride," he said. "It is about survival. It is about understanding. If you understand, you cannot be defeated." The arena fell silent. Every recruit, every leader, every watching I felt the weight of his words. For the first time, Threx lowered his arms and bowed his head. "Then teach me," he said. Gasps echoed. A commander bowing to a cadet? Impossible. Yet it had happened. From that day, everything changed. Daniel was no longer marked as weak. He was respected, not only by recruits but by instructors and commanders alike. The Academy began to study his style, teaching patience, focus, and anticipation alongside speed and strength. And Commander Threx himself became Daniel's greatest student. The two trained side by side, teacher and learner, until the line between them disappeared. Threx had once marked the human reflexes, but now he understood them and respected them. The story spread far beyond the Academy, across fleets and colonies, across planets and stars. It became a tale told in every training hall. The day an alien commander could not land a hit on a human, and the day he chose to learn instead of laugh. And so the legend of Daniel lived on, not as the weakest recruit, but as the one who proved that sometimes strength was not in claws or speed, but in the quiet reflex of knowing.